Want to put the least amount of time and effort into your stretching as possible while still hitting every muscle and joint in your body? This stretching routine is for you. Whether you lift weights or not, stretching is great for you, but especially if you lift weights. Stretching frees up your joints and muscles and allows you to move so much smoother. When I do this stretching routine the night before a leg day, my squats, my deadlifts, my lunges, all are so much cleaner. Hit this stretching routine a few nights a week and watch all of your lifts get better. All right, y'all, we are going to start with a position that everyone should not lose during their life, and that's just sitting on your heels. So if you look, my feet are flexed, okay? So I'm really feeling a nice stretch in the front of my shins on this one. And next, we're just gonna go into child's pose. So we're going to, have your knees together or spread apart. We're gonna rest our head on the ground, and we're trying to breathe into our lower back. Really reaching our hands out as far as we can. The next movement we're going to do is cat-cow. Okay, so I'm going to turn sideways for this one. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to round the back and round the spine and kind of reach for the sky with our back and look down. And we're breathing out right here. And then we're breathing in, arching the back, breathing or bringing the belly button to the ground and looking up. Okay, so breath out. Breath in. And then from there, I like to go into downward dog, okay? So we're really pushing our head away from us, pushing into our heels, pedal out the heels for a nice calf stretch. Trying to point my butt to the sky and bring my head between my arms. Really pushing the ground away from me with my arms. And sometimes I'll even throw a little bit of a twist in. Feel that in my lats, sometimes down in my lower back. And then from there, we're gonna raise one leg and bring us into pigeon, okay? We're gonna do it with our chest up and out first. So our leg is across us right here, trying to drive my glute into the ground. The more you bring that heel up, the more you're gonna feel that stretch. And then once I feel it loosening up, I'm gonna go down to my elbows for an even deeper stretch. And I'm gonna switch it. All right, and I'll slowly roll out of that. And then from here, we're gonna go into one of my favorite groin stretches, all right, the frog stretch. So you're gonna be on your hands and knees. You're gonna spread your knees apart as far as you can. I'm actually gonna give you a diagonal view. Your inside of your foot is flat on the ground and toes are pointed out, all right? Spread the knees as far apart as you can, wiggle them apart, and then we're gonna go to our elbows and we're gonna push our hips backward into our heels. You're gonna feel a good stretch in the groins right here. And sometimes I'll play with my foot position. You can feel it in a little bit different spots. And then a little bit different part of the adductors as well as the hamstrings. We're gonna go into adductor rock back. So one knee down, one foot out, okay? Toes can be pointed forward or up. When they're up, it's gonna be a little more hamstring, okay? And we're rocking back into our heel. And when they're forward, you're gonna feel that a little more in your groin, all right? And the more you move this knee away from you, the more you're gonna feel that stretch, the deeper you're gonna get. And then from here, we're going to go into cobra stretch. Okay. We're going to stretch out our abs a little bit. So lay on your stomach. Hands are right outside your chest right here. We're going to take a deep breath into our stomach and we're going vertebrae by vertebrae. So I'm going with my head first and then one vertebrae at a time, pushing up. Give you a little different angle. Big breath in. One vertebrae at a time. So if you guys are at home or at a gym, you're gonna use like a couch or a bench for this. I'm just using this for now. You're gonna put your foot up like we're getting into a Bulgarian split squat, top of the foot on the bench, drop that back knee to the ground, okay? And then our front foot is out in front of us like we're in a lunge, and you're trying to make a straight line from this knee all the way up through your body, and you should feel a nice stretch on the front of your hip, the hip flexor, and the quad. And then we're trying to tilt our pelvis this way, like flexing our glutes. So not that way, but that way. And you'll feel more stretch when you do that. I'm gonna switch it. All right, so now we're going to go into a few variations of stretching the hamstrings. It's going to be folding at the waist in a few different ways. So the first one, our knees are locked out. We're going to keep our back flat and just drive our butt back, not letting our knees bend until we feel that stretch in our hamstrings. Okay, you can put your hands on your knees for a little support. Just pushing that stretch, trying to tilt my pelvis up at the sky. And then we're not going to worry about keeping our back flat anymore. We're just going to reach for the ground and try to touch our toes or touch the ground. And then we're going to bend the knees a little bit. We're going to grab our ankles and hug our chest to our thighs. You're going to feel that a little more in your low back. And then we're going to grab opposite ankle with one hand and twist it a little, and you're going to feel that in your low back. And switch. And then we're going to drop our butt into a full squat, but our heels are going to come up, and you're actually going to lean forward a little bit and stretch your toes. I'm going to try to stretch out the bottom of the foot. And come up. I always roll through this about twice. So again, big chest and flat back, locked out knees, driving our butt back, feel that stretch. And the hamstrings right here. And then don't worry about the flat back, just reach for the ground. And then bend the knees a little bit, grab the ankles and bring the chest to the thighs. And then opposite hand, opposite ankle, and bring the chest to the thighs and twist a little. And then we're going to drop into a full squat. Heels come up. We're going to lean forward, let the knees go way over the toes, and stretch out our toes. Stretch out the bottom of our foot. All right, now we're going to stretch out our calves. All you need is a wall right here, okay? So you're going to plant your hands against the wall, step 1 foot back, make sure those toes are facing forward, and you're going to drive your heel into the ground. My knee is locked out. We're going to put all our weight into that foot and try to keep bending forward at the ankle so we feel a good stretch in our calves right here. Let's switch it. Now, that calf stretch stretches the bigger part, the gastrocnemius of our calf. You actually have a layer of calf under that muscle that needs to be stretched a little differently. You're going to actually plant your foot into the ground this time, but instead of keeping our knee locked out, we're going to bend our knee a little bit. You won't need much pressure on this. I don't really take the other foot off the ground. I'm just trying to drive my right knee forward, and you'll feel that a little closer to the Achilles. I'm going to switch it. Don't need much on this one. Feel that's on the lower calf right above the Achilles. So one thing I learned in my yoga class was that you want to bend forward and backward before you start twisting your spine. Okay, that forward and backward movement is going to lubricate your spine, and then you're going to twist a lot better. Okay, so I'm going to lay on my back. I'm going to shift my hips to my right just a little. I'm going to swing my right leg over, and then I'm going to hold my right leg down with my left hand and open up my shoulders. And you'll feel a nice core stretch on this one. All right, so now the opposite, shift my hips to my left leg over, hold it down with my right arm, and open up the shoulders. A little tighter on this side. You're gonna feel that in your core and sometimes your glute medius right here, the side of your glutes. All right, this time another twisting stretch. We're gonna get into a deep lunge, okay? Vertical front shin, straight back leg, okay? So my back knee is high, okay? And first we're gonna think about drawing circles with that back knee. You're gonna get a little bit of a hip flexor stretch right here, okay? And then now my right leg is forward. I'm going to plant my left hand on the ground. I'm going to take my right elbow and try to reach for the ground inside my leg. I'm not going to get it to the ground unless you're really flexible. And then we're going to rotate up, follow my hand with my eyes. And we're going to rotate through that a couple of times. Really reach this elbow toward the ground, then rotate up. I'm going to switch that. So vertical front shin, straight back leg. First we're going to draw circles with that back knee. Feel a nice hip flexor stretch right here. Keeping that back knee real high. And then again, left foot is forward. My right hand's going to plant on the ground. We're going to reach my left elbow inside my left leg toward the ground. Feel a good stretch in my glutes. And then rotate up and follow my hand with my eyes. While we're down here, we're going to stretch our forearms. So I'm going to take my hand, flip it around so my palm's facing forward, plant my hand flat on the ground, and I'm just going to lean back into it. You'll feel a nice stretch right there in your forearms. And you can play with the position, like how twisted you are, and you'll feel it in different spots in the forearm. And then we're going to flip the hand. Top of the hand goes on the ground. Sometimes I'll pin my hand down with my other hand. And then we're going to lean back, and you'll feel a good stretch down the top of the forearm here. We'll switch it. Palm goes forward, leaning back into it. And then plant the top of the hand on the ground, pin it down. All right, this one's called bootstrappers, another good mobility movement, not necessarily from yoga. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hook my fingers under my toes and I'm dropping my butt into a full squat, really trying to stick my chest out and drive my knees apart. And we're just basically getting comfortable at the bottom of a squat, okay? So I'm gonna grab onto my toes, drop my butt in, press my knees out, stick my chest out, and then we're gonna rotate through this. So we're gonna come up, stretch the hamstrings, and drop back in. Knees out, chest out, nice flat back. Okay, so this is the TRX lat stretch, but most of you are not gonna have a TRX at home. All you really need is something to hold on to that's maybe waist height or at least a little higher. So I'm just gonna use this treadmill, for example. I'm gonna grab onto this treadmill. I'm gonna face it with my feet facing forward. I'm gonna drop my butt back and really drop my weight into it. I'm trying to drive my chest down and my head past my arm. All right, and I'm gonna feel a stretch down my lat right here. And you can kind of twist in both directions to feel it in different places in your lat. I'll do the other side. So feet are facing it, grabbing onto this, dropping my weight back, driving my head down past my biceps. And we're gonna twist in both directions. And our last stretch is going to be a chest stretch for our pecs, okay? All you need is some sort of wall or a doorway or something. And we're going to do this at 2 different angles, okay? So one is going to be just in line with the shoulder, about parallel to the shoulder. I'm just going to lean against it and let the wall pull my arm back. Should feel a good stretch in my chest, especially if you're sore. Now, where you're going to feel it probably more is if you move your hand maybe a foot or 2 up. Okay, so my arm's at, I don't know, maybe a 45-degree angle, maybe a little below. Again, just leaning into it. Should feel a good stretch in your chest.